This is going to be a quick run through of how to play the card game Hand of the King. This is a 2 to 4 player game by Bruno Cathala. What you get in the game, you get these character cards with all different characters from different houses. The houses are colour coded and there's a different number of members in each house. You also get these, which are banners. There's a banner for each house in the game. And these, which are companion cards, which if you know the show are generally characters who don't fit into any house. You'll notice that on each of these character cards there is the name of the character and some artwork of the character, and also a number here which shows you the number of members of that particular house. So for instance here, Robb Stark is obviously in House Stark, if you're familiar with the show, and there are 8 cards in House Stark in the game, whereas say you pick Margaery Tyrell here, in her house there are only 3, the smallest house in the game being the Tullys at 2. Firstly, lay out all the character cards in a 6x6 grid, shuffling the cards as well as possible. Put the banner tokens to one side of the board, and then shuffle the companion cards and deal out 6 to be by the side of the board. These are the only 6 companion cards that will be in the game. In the game, with the youngest player going first, turns work as follows. This card is the Varys card, and you choose to move it orthogonally any number of spaces. So you would take Varys from here and you can move him all the way down to here, or up here, or just one, or all the way across. Now why would you do this? Well, when you put Varys onto, say, a character card like Aerys Targaryen here, what you do is you take that card, replace Varys with it, yeah, and then you take every other Targaryen card or cards of the same house as well. So if that was your move, you would take this. You put these 2 cards in front of you, like these 2 cards would go in front of you, and the next player would take a turn of moving Varys. Then for the second person's turn they might choose to take Margaery Tyrell, like that, but because we haven't passed over any other Tyrell, you just take the one Tyrell card. The way you win the game is by having the most banners at the end, yeah? Okay. If it's a draw, the person with the banner of the house who has the most members would be the winner. So say we both had 3 banners apiece, but I happen to have the Grey Stark banner, I would win because Stark has the most house members. So why are you doing this? Well, whenever you get a house card, or all these character cards, if you have the most of that number, you take the respected banner. So if I have 2 Targaryen cards and my opponents have less than 2, I would take this banner and put it in front of me. When it becomes that there are no legal moves for Varys to make, so say most of these cards have been taken and there is no move that Varys can actually make, the game is over and the person with the most banners is the winner of the game. I'll just show you a couple of moves now. So for instance, as I started, Varys can move up here, take this, then one player would take that. Then the next player perhaps would move down here and take Margaery Tyrell, not crossing any other Tyrell, so just getting the one and then taking the Tyrell banner. First player of course already has the Targaryen banner. Then next player could go across this way and take these 2 Greyjoys, giving them 2 Greyjoys and then taking the Greyjoy banner. Next person might choose to go up to Rickon Stark and take these 2 Starks, giving them 2 Starks, which is the most Starks in the game, and hence taking the Stark banner. Next player might choose to go here, move across, take this Tyrell card. I know the Tyrell's here, so it's just the one. That gives them 2 Tyrells. And the next player then may move down here and cement their control over the Greyjoys by taking these 2, which gives them 4. If it happened in the game that another player acquired the same number of character cards of a house, so for instance I have 2 Targaryen cards here, if my opponent gained 2, they would take the banner off me. So you don't have to have a greater number, merely an equal number. But then if I was to take another card, I would take the banner back. When it's that the board is sufficiently empty and Varus can't move, that triggers the end of the game. Player with the most banners wins. So the player who has the most characters of it, most houses wins. In case of a draw, the person who has the banner of the house with the most members wins. So these cards, as one example, are called the companion cards. And you get a companion card when you take the last member of a house off the board. So for instance, if Varys now was to move, say, here, and take off this Targaryen, and that was the last Targaryen on the board, I know it's not, but if it was, I would get to pick one of these companion cards from here, and they all have slightly different abilities. So I'll just pick one here to show you. So if I take Melisandre, she just means I immediately get to take another go. She's then taken out of the game. I take my other go, and there are 5 cards to choose from. There are more than 5 of these cards, 6 of these cards in the pack, but you just get 6 every single game, and that's the number that you have for the game. This one here, which is Jake and Hagar, says kill 1 character in King's Landing. This grid here represents King's Landing, so you just take 1 away. And then 1 character in a play area, so you'd kill a character that someone else has taken and has in front of them. And then you can also remove a companion from the game, perhaps because the special ability that gives may be very beneficial to one of your opponents. So then you do that, and then you take that out of the game. If the card, the card that you've just taken, so for instance, if this one here kills a character in King's Landing, and it's the last member of that house, that's not the same as taking the last member of that house, so you wouldn't get another one of these. Though, if the card just told you to take a character from King's Landing rather than kill, then you would get another companion card, so technically you could get 2 in one turn. So there you have it. Game of Thrones Hand of the King. Now, I actually really like this game. This game has, as you can see, tremendously simple rules, but actually has some depth to it. It plays well with 2, but I imagine it plays better with a higher player count. I've actually only played it so far with 2 people. The rulebook includes some nice variants for team play. The game is actually surprisingly deep for something so simple. It kind of reminds me, you can tell the person who made the game made 5 Tribes, has a kind of nice sort of spatial movement and sort of positioning. So when you choose to move Varys, it's not just where you want him to be and what cards you want. You also need to think about where you're putting him in terms of what it will give your opponent, which is quite nice. The play time is extremely short. You can get a game of this played in just over about 15 minutes. The choice for the artwork is nice. I quite like the cartoon art. Though I will say I probably would have preferred show art, though saying that, if they had done that, the cards perhaps wouldn't have been as colourful and the game wouldn't have been as accessible to people who perhaps don't know the TV show. If you do know the TV show, the game's actually quite nicely thematic with a lot of sort of back and forth. And if you don't know the TV show, you can still play and enjoy it. It's quite a simple game, but the theme is there if you like that sort of thing. Just a quick mention of the art. As I've said, I probably would have preferred show art, but it wouldn't have been as colourful as this. But what's interesting is, like, some of the character cards look quite a lot like the characters in the show. Like Theon Greyjoy looks quite a lot like the actor who plays him, whereas Tywin Lannister doesn't really look a lot like Charles Dance. It's kind of peculiar, but quite good at the same time. Then just finally a few negatives. Moving the Varys card can be a little bit fiddly. It would have been much better if it had been a token, or even better, a little mini of Varys. Though if that bothers you so much, I guess you could sort that yourself. And then finally, my favourite character, Jorah Mormont, doesn't feature in the game at all, which is a little bit of a shame, but oh well.